Hey there. Tonight, we journey to the top of the world, to a place of endless ice, shifting seas, and a sky that dances with ghost light. We're going to the Arctic to understand what life was truly like for the indigenous peoples who called that vast, frozen expanse home. Forget the cartoons. Forget the simplistic images of smiling figures in parkas standing beside domed snow houses. The reality of life in the Arctic was not simple. It was a masterpiece of ingenuity, a testament to human endurance, and a daily life-or-death negotiation with the most unforgiving environment on Earth. It was a world of profound silence, punctuated by the howl of the wind and the crack of ice. A life of darkness and light, of hunger and bounty, of incredible community and stark isolation. If this kind of slow, immersive history helps you find rest, I'd be grateful if you'd like the video and subscribe to the channel. But please, only if this brings you a measure of peace. And as always, I love to see where this story is reaching. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's a quiet reminder that we're all under the same sky. Now, dim the lights. If you have a fan, turn it on for that soft, steady hum that can sound like a distant wind. Settle into your warmth, close your eyes, and let's travel north to a world made of snow. You are born into a world of two colors, the blinding white of the snow and the deep, endless blue, black of the sea and sky. There are no trees here, no forests to soften the horizon. The landscape is a stark, minimalist sculpture of ice, rock, and wind. This is not a place that tolerates weakness. It is a world that demands strength, knowledge, and a respect so deep it borders on fear. Your people, the Inuit, call this land home. You do not think of it as empty or barren. To you, it is full. It is full of signs, full of spirits, and full of life, if you know how to look. The subtle shift in the wind's direction tells you a storm is coming. The texture of the snow under your feet tells you if the ice below is safe. The way the ice crystals form on a dead twig speaks of the coming night's temperature. The call of a raven can be an omen, good or bad. You don't just live on the land, you are in a constant, silent conversation with it. Every moment of observation is a lesson in survival. For half the year, you live in a world of twilight and darkness. The sun is a distant memory, a brief, low arc of pale light on the horizon that vanishes almost as soon as it appears. This is the great dark, the polar night. The cold is not just a temperature, it is a living entity, a physical pressure. It is a predator that is always waiting. It seeps through the tiniest tear in your clothing. It steals the heat from your body with a speed that is shocking. You learn from infancy that the cold is the true monster, and everything you do, the way you build your home, the clothes you wear, the food you eat is designed to keep it at bay. The silence is another constant. It is a silence so profound it has weight. You can hear the blood pulsing in your own ears. You can hear the faint hiss of your own breath crystallizing in the air. But this silence is rarely empty. It is a canvas for other, more important sounds. It is broken by the sharp crack of sea ice shifting miles away, a sound that travels through the frozen ground and into the bones of your feet. It is broken by the mournful, shrieking howl of the wind, a sound that can last for days, a malevolent spirit trying to tear its way into your shelter. This wind, the Inori, doesn't just blow. It scours the landscape, carving the snow into hard, sharp dunes called sastrugi. And sometimes, on the clearest, coldest nights, the silence is broken by a sight so overwhelming it feels like a sound. The Aksaliat, the northern lights. Great curtains of green, white, and sometimes violet and red light that rustle and dance silently across the entire sky. You know these are the spirits of the dead, perhaps the souls of children, playing a game with a walrus skull, the light their flickering ball. They are beautiful, a gift of light in the great dark, but they are also a reminder of the spirit world that is always, and literally, above you. A world to be respected, and sometimes feared. The land itself is in constant motion. The sea ice, your winter highway and hunting ground, is a living, breathing thing. It groans, cracks, and collides. A lead of open water can appear in minutes, a dark, steaming wound in the white expanse, cutting you off from your camp. A pressure ridge, a mountain of broken ice shards shoved together by unimaginable force, can form overnight where there was once a flat plain. You learn to read the ice as a scholar reads a book, knowing its moods, its dangers, and its gifts. You know the dark color of new, unsafe ice from the milky white of multi-year stable ice. You know the sound it makes when it is strong, and the sound it makes when it is about to break. When the sun finally returns, it is a rebirth. The darkness recedes, and the world is plunged into months of continuous daylight. The snow glares with an intensity that can blind you if you are not careful, a condition you call snow blindness, for which you have ingeniously carved snow goggles from bone or driftwood with a thin slit to see through. The land, once frozen solid, begins to weep. The tundra, for a few short weeks, explodes with a carpet of tiny, resilient flowers and mosses. Migratory birds arrive in the hundreds of thousands, their calls filling the air, a cacophony of life after months of stillness. The world is awake again. But even this season of light has its dangers. The melting ice becomes unstable, a treacherous trap for the unwary. The fog can roll in from the sea without warning, a thick white wall that blots out the sun and all landmarks, a disorienting void that can make you lose all sense of direction just feet from your own camp. This is the world you were born into. Not a wilderness to be conquered, but a home to be understood. You have no maps, no compasses, no written language to guide you. Your knowledge is carried in your mind, a vast and complex mental atlas passed down through generations of story and song. It is a knowledge born of utter necessity, where a single misreading of the ice, a moment of inattention to the wind can be your last. You are a human being in the most extreme environment on the planet, and your survival depends not on changing the world, but on changing yourself to fit within its stark, beautiful, and brutal rhythms. Your winter home is a miracle of engineering, a structure of profound elegance built from the only material you have in abundance: snow. To an outsider, it is an igloo. To you, it is an igloo, your home. It is not a romantic novelty. It is a life-saving piece of architecture, a temporary dome of warmth and life you create with your own hands, a sanctuary against the killing cold and the howling wind. You do not build with just any snow. The fluffy powder that falls from the sky is useless. You must find a deep drift of wind-packed snow, snow that has been compressed and hardened by the constant Arctic winds until it has the consistency of soft sandstone. You test it with your harpoon or a long probe of bone or antler, your pana, feeling for the right density and uniformity. Once you have found the perfect spot, the work begins. The primary tool is a snow knife, a long blade traditionally made from caribou antler, whalebone, or ivory, materials that don't transmit the cold to your hands like metal would. With this knife, you carve blocks from the snowdrift. Each block is about 3 feet long, 2 feet high, and 8 inches thick. The first row of blocks is laid in a circle on a slight incline. Then, you begin to spiral upwards. This is the architectural genius of the igloo. It is not built in horizontal rings, which would require support. It is built as a single, continuous, inward-leaning spiral. Each new block rests on the one below it and leans against the one beside it, its weight distributed perfectly, creating a self-supporting dome. The work is fast and precise. Each block must be shaped with the snow knife to fit snugly against its neighbors. There can be no gaps for the wind to find. A master builder, working alone, can construct a family-sized igloo in just a few hours. The final block, the keystone at the very top, is shaped to fit the final opening and is fitted into place from the inside. Once this block is set, the structure is complete and incredibly strong. A grown man can stand on the roof without it collapsing. Then, you cut the entrance, a low tunnel that opens into the main chamber from below the floor level. This design is crucial. It acts as a cold trap. The dense, cold air stays in the lower part of the entrance tunnel, while the warmer, lighter air is trapped inside the main living space. Often, there is a smaller dome built as a porch to store gear, butcher meat out of the wind, and to provide a double airlock against the storm. Inside, the transformation from a shell of snow to a home begins. You bring in the quillik, the seal oil lamp. This simple, shallow, crescent-shaped stone dish is the heart, the hearth, and the soul of your home. A piece of dried moss or Arctic cotton serves as the long, linear wick resting in the melted seal or whale blubber. When lit, the quillik gives off a soft, smoky, golden light, and more importantly, a steady, gentle heat. It is the woman's sacred duty to tend the lamp. She is its keeper. She constantly trims the wick with a small bone pick, adjusting the flame, ensuring it burns brightly and cleanly, without smoke. A smoky lamp is the sign of a poor housekeeper. The heat from the lamp and from your own bodies begins to change the igloo's interior. The inner surface of the snow blocks melts slightly, and then, in the intense cold, refreezes as a smooth, airtight layer of ice. This glaze makes the walls even stronger and seals every tiny crack. The temperature inside an igloo, even when it is 50 degrees below zero outside, can be raised by 40, 50, even 70 degrees, hovering just around or even above freezing. To you, after hours on the ice, this is the feeling of luxurious warmth. The interior is not just an empty dome. A large snow platform, raised 2 or 3 feet off the floor, serves as the communal bed and living area. This is where the entire family sleeps, eats, and works, huddled together under heavy caribou skin blankets. The floor of the entrance tunnel is the lowest point, and this is where the coldest air settles, away from where you live and sleep. Smaller platforms might be built to the side for storing food or gear. To allow for ventilation and prevent carbon monoxide buildup from the lamp, a small hole is poked through the roof. A sheet of clear, freshwater ice or a piece of stretched seal intestine might be set into the wall to act as a window, letting in the pale light of the moon or the aurora. Life in the igloo is intensely intimate. You are living in a space perhaps 10 to 15 feet in diameter with your entire extended family. There is no privacy. The air is thick with the smells of the quillik lampa fishy, oily scent mixed with the smell of cooking meat, of blood, of unwashed bodies, and of damp fur clothing. The walls drip constantly. The steady melting and refreezing from the lamp creates a continuous trickle of water, which you might collect in a skin bag for drinking. It is a damp, close, and loud environment. You hear every breath, every cough, every murmur, every stomach growl, and yet it is a place of incredible security. Outside, the wind might be screaming at 100 miles an hour, a storm so violent it is called pissertuk, the one that drives. A whiteout can reduce visibility to zero, making the world a terrifying, featureless void, but inside your dome of snow you are safe. The igloo's aerodynamic shape allows the wind to flow harmlessly over it. The snow, a brilliant insulator, muffles the sound of the storm to a distant, comforting roar. You are inside a womb of ice, protected from a world that is actively trying to kill you. Here, in the soft, flickering glow of the quillik, stories are told, games are played, and life is sustained. It is a temporary home, one that will melt with the spring sun, but for the long, dark months of winter, this fragile dome of frozen breath is the center of your universe. The sun is gone. The sea is a solid sheet of ice. The land is frozen and barren. In this world, there is one animal that means the difference between life and death. It is the ringed seal, the natsik. The seal is not just food. It is your heat, your light, your clothing, your tools, your thread, and your hope. To hunt the seal is the central drama of your winter existence, an act of supreme patience and skill. You are a hunter. Your skills have been honed since you were a boy, watching your father and uncles. The primary method for winter hunting is not a chase, but a wait. Stalking a seal on open ice is nearly impossible. Its hearing is too keen, its caution too great. Instead, you hunt them at their breathing holes, their aglue. Seals are mammals. They must come up for air every 15 to 20 minutes. Beneath the vast sheet of sea ice, each seal maintains a series of small breathing holes, often covered by a thin layer of snow, invisible to an untrained eye. Finding these holes is the first great skill. You rely on your dogs. Their sense of smell is far superior to yours, and they can detect the faint scent of a seal's breath on the air, leading you to a breathing hole from a distance. Once a dog signals, you approach with quiet reverence. You use a long, thin rod of bone or antler, your breathing hole probe, to confirm the exact location and shape of the hole hidden beneath the snow. Now begins the true test, the wait. This is Morlik, the waiting hunt. You set up a small stool of snow blocks or simply stand, motionless, over the hole. You might place a delicate indicator, a wisp of caribou fur, or a single bird's feather over the hole. When the seal rises to breathe, its warm, moist breath will cause the indicator to flutter, your only signal that your prey is directly below. And so you wait. You might wait for hours. You might wait all day. The temperature is 40, 50, 60 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. The wind is a razor, seeking any gap in your clothing. You must remain absolutely silent and still. A single scrape of your boot on the snow, a cough, the slightest unnecessary movement, and the seal will be gone, retreating to another of its breathing holes miles away. Your mind must be as still as your body. You enter a state of deep concentration, a trance of pure focus. Your entire being is centered on that small, invisible hole in the ice. You are not thinking about the cold, or your hunger, or the family waiting back at the igloo. You are thinking only of the seal. You are becoming the seal, anticipating its movements, its needs. Your clothing is your life support. Layers of caribou skin, sewn with meticulous care, trap your body heat. Your feet are protected by waterproof sealskin boots, your hands by thick fur mittens. But the cold is relentless. It finds the smallest gap. It numbs your face. You do not feel it. You have taught your body to ignore it. You are a statue of patient, focused intent, a human part of the frozen landscape. Then it happens. The indicator flutters. Your heart leaps into your throat, but your body does not move. The seal is there, just inches below the ice. You hold your harpoon, its point of sharpened stone or antler poised. You have only one chance. You strike downwards with all your strength, a single explosive movement born from hours of stillness. You must aim perfectly, driving the harpoon head through the thin layer of snow and ice and into the body of the seal. The harpoon head is a masterpiece of technology. It is a toggling head, designed to detach from the shaft upon impact and turn sideways under the seal's skin, locking it in place like an anchor. It is connected to a long line of braided sealskin or walrus hide, which you hold tightly. The seal, struck and panicked, will dive, pulling powerfully on the line. Now the struggle begins. You must be strong, planting your feet, using your body as a brace. You play the line, letting the powerful animal tire itself out, all the while ensuring the line does not snap or pull you off your feet. Finally, you begin to haul it up. It is heavy, dead weight. You might need the help of another hunter to pull the seal, weighing over 100 pounds, up through the narrow breathing hole. The moment the seal is on the ice, a prayer of thanks is offered to its spirit. You have not conquered an animal, you have received a gift from the goddess Sedna. You close its eyes and give it a drink of fresh water, a sign of respect, ensuring its spirit will be placated and return to be hunted again. The seal is brought back to the igloo on a sled. Its arrival is a moment of communal joy. A seal means survival for everyone. The laws of your people are strict and absolute. The successful hunter does not own the seal. The meat is shared among the entire community. This custom, this absolute necessity of sharing, is the bedrock of your society. The hunter who made the kill has the honor of the first choice of meat, often the liver, eaten raw and rich with the vitamins you desperately need. After that, the animal is distributed according to a precise system of kinship and obligation. This ensures that even the family of an unsuccessful hunter will eat. It ensures that the elderly and the sick are cared for. Hoarding food is unthinkable. It is a crime against the community and the spirits, and it would ensure your own death in the long run. The seal is butchered with an ulu, the woman's crescent-shaped knife. Every single part is used. The meat provides protein and iron. The fat, the blubber, is the most precious part. It is eaten for its high energy content, and it is the fuel for the quilic lamp, the flame that keeps you warm and alive. The skin is turned into waterproof boots, ropes, and coverings. The sinew is used for thread. The bones are carved into needles, tools, and amulets. The intestines can be cleaned and stretched to make a waterproof parka or a window for the igloo. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is wasted. To waste any part of the seal is the highest form of disrespect to its spirit. In a world of profound scarcity, the seal is abundance. It is your fire, your light, and your life, wrested from the ice through incredible patience, skill, and deep spiritual respect. There is another great hunter on the ice, one that you both fear and revere above all others. It is Nanook, the polar bear. The polar bear is the lord of the Arctic, a creature of immense power, intelligence, and supernatural significance. It is the only animal that will actively hunt humans. To hunt the polar bear is not like hunting a seal. It is to engage in a duel with a fellow apex predator, a test of ultimate courage and skill. You do not hunt the polar bear out of casual need. You hunt it when the opportunity arises, or when a bear becomes a threat to your camp. A single large bear can provide a massive amount of meat and a hide of unparalleled warmth, but the risk is astronomical. The hunt is a team effort, often involving several hunters and their dog teams. The dogs are crucial. Their keen noses can pick up the scent of a bear from miles away, and their courage is essential in tracking and cornering the beast. When the dogs find a fresh track, the chase begins. You run alongside your sled, urging the dogs on, a frantic race across the broken sea ice or the frozen tundra. When the bear is finally brought to bay, the dogs will surround it, barking and nipping, keeping its attention while you and the other hunters move into position. This is the most dangerous moment. A polar bear is incredibly fast and astonishingly strong. It can kill a dog with a single swipe of its massive paw. It can outrun a man over short distances. You must be cautious, respectful, and absolutely without fear. Any sign of hesitation or panic will be your end. Your weapon is the harpoon or a long sturdy spear with a sharp stone or bone point. You must get close, dangerously close. You and your fellow hunters will form a circle around the bear, slowly closing in, looking for an opening. The bear will be enraged, rearing up on its hind legs, letting out a deafening roar that echoes across the silent landscape. Its teeth are long and yellow. Its black eyes are fixed on you, intelligent and full of killing power. The thrust must be precise and committed. You aim for the heart or the lungs, a spot low in the chest. You must drive the spear home with all your strength and then immediately get back. If the first thrust does not kill it, the wounded bear will be a whirlwind of fury. Many hunters have been maimed or killed in these final, desperate moments. It is a chaotic, terrifying dance of death on the ice. When the great bear finally falls, the silence that follows is profound. You and your fellow hunters approach the body with a mixture of relief, triumph, and deep reverence. This was not just an animal, this was a powerful spirit. You must treat it with the utmost respect to ensure its spirit is not angered and that it will allow itself to be hunted again in the future. The hunter who delivered the killing blow is afforded great honor. But like the seal, the bear belongs to the community. It is hauled back to the camp on multiple sleds, its arrival met with ceremony. The butchering is done according to strict ritual. The hide, thick and insulated, will be used for trousers or as a luxurious sleeping platform in the igloo. The meat is tough but nourishing. The liver, unlike a seal's liver, is never eaten. Your people know through generations of experience that it is toxic, containing lethal amounts of vitamin A. The skull of the bear is treated with special care. It might be placed on a high point of rock, facing the sea, as a sign of respect. You believe the spirit of the bear resides in the skull, and by honoring it, you ensure that the great hunters of the ice will continue to provide for your people. To wear a necklace of polar bear claws is a sign of a great hunter, a man who has faced the Lord of the Arctic and survived. It is a symbol of courage and power, but it is also a reminder of the thin line between the hunter and the hunted in your world. To hunt Nanook is to look death in the eye, and through skill, courage, and the help of your community and your dogs, to have earned one more season of life. In your world, your clothing is not about fashion or status. It is the single most important piece of technology you possess. It is your personal portable shelter. A well-made parka is the difference between a successful hunt and a frozen corpse. A poorly stitched seam is not an inconvenience. It is a fatal flaw, an invitation for the cold to slip in and begin its deadly work. The creation of clothing is the domain of women. It is an art form, a sacred skill passed down from mother to daughter for 100 generations. The knowledge involved is vast and precise, a science of materials, insulation, and anatomy. A girl learns to sew as soon as her hands are strong enough to hold a bone needle. Her skill as a seamstress will determine not only her own survival, but the survival of her husband, her children, and her community. A man looks for a wife, not just for companionship, but for her ability to make the clothing that will keep him alive on a 10-hour hunt in a blizzard. A woman's skill is judged by the quality of her stitches and the softness of the boots she chews. The best material for winter clothing is caribou skin. The hide of the caribou hunted in the late summer, when their coats are thickest, is prized above all others. This is because the hair of the caribou is hollow. Each hair is a tiny, air-filled tube, which creates an insulation of incredible efficiency, trapping warm air and keeping the cold out. It is far warmer and lighter than wool or any other material. Seal skin, particularly from the ringed or bearded seal, is used for its waterproof qualities, especially for boots, hammock, and mittens. The core of your winter wardrobe is the double-layered system. You wear 2 full suits of caribou clothing. The inner layer is worn with the fur turned inwards, soft and warm against your skin. The outer layer is worn with the fur turned outwards, the coarse guard hairs shedding snow and blocking the wind. This system traps a layer of air between the 2 suits, creating a near-perfect barrier against the cold. Let's look at the parka, the amorti. A woman's parka is a work of art and profound function. It is designed with a large, built-in hood and broad, rounded shoulders, creating a pouch in the back, the amort, where she can carry her baby. The infant, naked against the mother's bare back, is kept warm by her body heat, lulled by her movements, safe and secure as she goes about her work. This constant skin-to-skin contact is not just for warmth. It is the foundation of the bond between mother and child, and allows the mother to sense the child's needs immediately. The sewing itself is a marvel of precision. You do not use just any thread. The best thread is made from the sinew taken from the long tendons running along the caribou's back. It is strong, durable, and has a unique property. When it gets wet, it swells, tightening the stitch holes and making the seam completely waterproof. This is crucial. A seam that leaks moisture will allow that moisture to freeze, creating a cold bridge that can lead to frostbite. Your needles are made of sharpened bone or ivory, polished smooth. Your thimble is a piece of thick hide worn on your finger. Your stitches are tiny, even, and incredibly tight. You might use different stitches for different parts of a garment: a running stitch for a strong seam, a blind stitch for a waterproof one. This is a skill that takes a lifetime to perfect. Your boots, your hammock, are perhaps the most complex and vital pieces of clothing. They are made from several different types of specially treated skin. The sole is often made from the tough, durable skin of the bearded seal. The upper part is made from waterproof ringed seal skin, scraped thin and de-haired. The inside is lined with soft caribou fur or woven Arctic grass for insulation. A well-made pair of hammock is so perfectly waterproof you can stand in freezing water without your feet getting wet. But they require constant care. They must be dried carefully each night, away from the direct heat of the lamp, which would make them brittle. The leather must be kept supple, often by the woman chewing on the sole to soften it. A wet foot in the Arctic is a frozen foot, and a frozen foot can lead to gangrene and death. Your mittens are also double-layered. The inner mitten of soft fur, the outer of tough, waterproof skin. You never go anywhere without them. Your hands are your tools, and frostbite on your fingers would mean you could no longer hunt, sew, or even feed yourself. Even the design of the clothing is brilliant. The parka is cut loose to allow for air circulation, preventing the build-up of sweat. If you sweat and that sweat freezes in your clothes, you will die. The cuffs of the sleeves and the ruff of the hood are often trimmed with the fur of a wolverine or a wolf. This fur is special because it does not hold frost. Your warm, moist breath, which would freeze instantly on any other fur, creating a cage of ice around your face, will not cling to a wolverine fur ruff. Making a single winter outfit can take a woman weeks, even months of work. It involves the labor of hunting the animal, the grueling, smelly process of scraping and preparing the hide, and hundreds of hours of meticulous sewing in the dim light of the quillic lamp. Your clothes are not disposable. They are precious, life-sustaining heirlooms, cared for, patched, and repaired until they can no longer be worn. When you step out of the igloo into the screaming wind and the absolute cold, you are not wearing a coat. You are wearing a second skin, one stitched together with the love, skill, and ancient wisdom of the women of your family. It is this skin that allows you to live in a world where everything else freezes. You are never truly alone on the ice. At your side is your most important partner, a creature as tough and resilient as you are, the sled dog, the chimik. This is not a pet. This is not a creature you pamper. This is a working animal, a hunting companion, and a fellow survivor, bound to you by a pact of mutual necessity. The chimik is a marvel of biological adaptation. It has a thick double coat that insulates it from the cold, powerful legs for pulling, and an incredible metabolism that allows it to work in sub-zero temperatures on a diet of frozen meat and fat. Its paws are tough, its senses are sharp, and its endurance is legendary. Your relationship with your dogs is complex. There is a deep bond of respect, but not of sentimentality. You care for your dogs because your life depends on them, and their lives depend on you. You feed them, but often only after you and your family have eaten. In times of famine, the dogs go hungry first. It is a brutal but necessary calculation. The dog's primary role is to pull the sled, the kamutik. Your sled team is not arranged in the neat 2x2 formation of modern racing teams. You use a fan hitch. Each dog has its own individual trace, a line of sealskin rope that connects its harness directly to the sled. This formation allows the dogs to spread out, to pick their own best path over treacherous, broken ice. If one dog falls through a patch of thin ice, the fan hitch prevents it from dragging the rest of the team down with it. Driving a dog team is a high-skill art. You do not have reins. You control the dogs with your voice, with specific commands for turning, stopping, and speeding up, and with the expert use of a long whip. The whip is rarely used to strike the dogs. It is cracked in the air beside them, a sharp report that gets their attention and guides their movement. The lead dog is the most intelligent and experienced of the team, the one who understands your commands and can read the ice ahead. The bond between a hunter and his lead dog is one of profound trust. But the dogs are more than just engines for the sled. They are your eyes, your ears, and your nose. On the seal hunt, they find the breathing holes. In a whiteout blizzard, when you cannot see your own hands in front of your face, a good lead dog can find its way back to the igloo, navigating by scent and an incredible internal map. They are your early warning system, barking at the approach of a polar bear long before you are aware of the danger. You raise your dogs from pups, training them, establishing your dominance as the pack leader. They sleep outside, often buried in the snow for insulation. They are tough, fierce animals. Fights among the dogs are common and must be broken up quickly and decisively. And yet, there is loyalty. A team that has worked together for years knows you, trusts you, and will pull with all their heart for you. In the summer, when the snow is gone, the dogs have less work to do. They are often used as pack animals, carrying loads on their backs as the family moves from one camp to another. The dog is a living tool, a partner in survival. You will share your last piece of meat with your lead dog if it means getting your family home safely. You will sit with it when it is injured, and you will make the hard decision to kill it if it is too old or sick to work. Your relationship is forged in the shared experience of the hunt, the trail, and the storm. When you are out on the vast, silent expanse of the sea ice, miles from any other human, the rhythmic panting of your dog team is the sound of companionship, the sound of life, the sound of your shared struggle against the white silence. The winter darkness is a time of intense social and spiritual life. Trapped together in the close confines of the igloo or the semi-subterranean sod house, you and your family must rely on more than just physical warmth to survive. You must rely on the warmth of community, story, and ritual to fend off the psychological dangers of the long night, fear, boredom, and despair. This is the season of storytelling. The history of your people is not written in books. It is carried in the minds of the elders and transmitted through the spoken word. Every night, as the family huddles around the glow of the quillic, an elder will begin a story. They tell the ancient myths of the creation of the world, of the sun and the moon who were once brother and sister, of Sedna, the powerful and often vengeful goddess who lives at the bottom of the sea and controls all the sea animals. They tell the epic stories of great hunters who outwitted polar bears and legendary shamans who traveled to the spirit world. They also tell humorous and cautionary tales, stories that teach the moral and ethical laws of your people. You learn about the importance of sharing, the dangers of arrogance, and the necessity of respecting the spirits. These stories are your school, your church, and your theatre. They are how you understand your place in the cosmos. Games are also a vital part of winter life. They are not just for fun, they are for keeping your mind sharp, your hands nimble, and your body strong. You play string games, ajarak, creating intricate patterns of animals, spirits, and daily life with a simple loop of sinew. These games are not just for children, they are a sophisticated art form, with hundreds of complex figures passed down through generations, often accompanied by a specific story or chant. There are also games of strength and endurance played inside the igloo, wrestling, tests of balance, and painful games where two people hook fingers and pull until one gives up. These are training for the physical hardships of your life. The spiritual world feels particularly close during the long night. The darkness is not empty. It is filled with spirits, some helpful, some mischievous, and some mortally dangerous. The greatest fear is of the Tupilak, an avenging monster created by a sorcerer to seek revenge on an enemy. It is a creature made from parts of dead animals and sometimes human corpses, brought to horrifying life through a dark ritual. The fear of a Tupilak being sent against your family is a source of real anxiety, and is often the explanation for a sudden, inexplicable death or misfortune. The most important spiritual figure in your community is the Angakuk, the shaman. The Angakuk is the mediator between the human world and the spirit world. If the hunting fails for a long period, if sickness strikes the camp, or if a great misfortune occurs, the community will turn to the shaman. They will hold a ceremony, often in a specially built large igloo. In the darkness, the shaman will chant and drum, the rhythmic, hypnotic beat of the skin drum altering the consciousness of everyone present. The shaman enters a trance. It is believed that in this state, their spirit can leave their body and travel. They might journey to the bottom of the sea to appease the sea goddess Sedna, who is angry because someone has broken a taboo, and she is holding back the seals in her tangled hair. The shaman must comb her hair and soothe her anger. Or they might travel to the land of the moon to ask for help in predicting the weather or the location of the caribou. These shamanic performances are dramatic and often terrifying. The shaman might speak in strange, guttural voices, the voices of their spirit helpers. Objects might seem to fly around the dark igloo. To an outsider, it might seem like a clever trick. To you, it is deadly serious. The fate of the entire community rests on the shaman's ability to restore balance with the spirit world. Life is governed by a complex system of taboos and rules, all designed to maintain this balance. A woman who is menstruating cannot touch the hunting gear. The meat of a land animal, like a caribou, cannot be butchered with the same knife or cooked in the same pot as the meat of a sea animal, like a seal. To break a taboo is to risk offending the spirits and bringing disaster upon everyone. But the most important law, as always, is the law of sharing. In this environment, individualism is a death sentence. Your survival is utterly dependent on the people around you. This ethic of sharing is the social glue that holds your world together. It is a form of insurance, a web of mutual support that is more valuable than any tool or weapon. In the long, dark winter, you are stripped down to the essentials: warmth, food, and community. Your life is interwoven with the lives of those around you in a way that is almost unimaginable to a modern person. You are never truly alone, and in this shared existence you find the strength to endure the darkness and to wait for the sun's return. After months of darkness and suffocating cold, the change comes. At first, it is a promise more than a reality. The arc of the sun above the horizon lasts a few minutes longer each day. The quality of the light shifts from a pale, flat white to something with warmth and color. Then, the transformation accelerates. The sun climbs higher, and soon it does not set at all. You are now in the season of the midnight sun, a time of frantic, joyous, and dangerous activity. The world begins to melt, and it is a noisy, violent process. The snow on your igloo, once your shield, becomes your enemy. It softens, drips, and finally collapses with a soft sigh, your winter home dissolving back into the earth. The solid sea ice, your highway and hunting ground, begins to fracture. Great cracks, or leads, of open water appear, their dark blue a shocking contrast to the white ice. The sound of the spring breakup is a constant, thunderous roar as massive sheets of ice grind against each other, pushed by wind and current. It sounds like the world is breaking apart. It is time to move. Your family packs its few precious belongings onto the dog sled, the komutik. This is not the sleek, lightweight sled of modern racing, but a heavy, durable work vehicle, its runners made from whalebone or driftwood, coated with a layer of frozen moss and water to reduce friction. You leave the winter camp behind, a place of collapsed igloos and scattered bones, and move to your summer location, usually a coastal area with good access to open water and migrating animals. Your summer home is the tupik, the skin tent. It is a conical or ridged structure made from a frame of precious driftwood or whalebone and covered with dozens of seal skins, scraped thin and sewn together by the women. The seams are made perfectly waterproof. The tent is held down by a circle of heavy rocks against the constant summer winds. It is a lighter, more portable home, suited to the more mobile life of the summer. The air inside is still smoky from a small fire, but it feels fresh and open compared to the igloo. The world explodes with life. The stark white landscape is replaced by the browns, greens, and vibrant magentas of the tundra. For a few short, glorious weeks, the ground is covered with a carpet of tiny, resilient flowers, Arctic poppies, moss campion, saxifrage. The air, once silent, is now filled with the cacophony of birds. Millions of snow geese, eider ducks, and seabirds return to their summer nesting grounds on the coastal cliffs. Their arrival is a gift of fresh food, meat and eggs after a long winter of preserved meat. The hunt changes completely. The men now take to the water in their kayaks, the kayak, The kayak is a vessel of almost magical grace and efficiency. It is a long, narrow boat with a frame of driftwood, lashed together with sinew and covered with a skin of the bearded seal. It is a custom-fit extension of the hunter's own body. You sit low in the water, and your waterproof parka is sealed to the rim of the cockpit, making you and the boat one waterproof entity. With a double-bladed paddle, you can move silently and swiftly through the water. The kayak is a stealth weapon, allowing you to approach seals resting on ice floes or to hunt the great herds of caribou as they swim across rivers during their summer migration. To be a master of the kayak, to be able to perform the Eskimo role, to right yourself if you capsize, is a vital survival skill. To capsize in the near-freezing Arctic water without being able to roll is a death sentence. Hypothermia would kill you in minutes. The women also take to the water, but in a different vessel, the umiak. The umiak is a large, open boat, also made of a driftwood frame and a walrus or bearded seal skin cover. It is the community's cargo vessel, the woman's boat. It is used to transport the entire family, the dogs, and all their belongings from one camp to another. It is also used for hunting the largest prey of all, the bowhead whale. A whale hunt is the most dangerous and important event of the summer. It requires the cooperation of several crews in multiple umiaks. The lead harpooner, a man of great skill and courage, must strike the massive animal, and then the crews must work together in a perilous Nantucket sleigh ride to tire it out and tow it to shore. A single whale can provide tons of meat, blubber, muktuk, and bone, enough to sustain a community for an entire year. Its capture is a moment of immense celebration and ritual. But the bounty of summer is fleeting and must be seized. You know that the darkness and the cold will return. Every day of light is a day to prepare for the coming winter. The women gather eggs from the cliff sides, a dangerous task that involves being lowered on ropes. They gather edible berries, roots, and seaweed, preserving them in seal oil for the winter. The men are constantly hunting and fishing, caching the meat in stone cairns to protect it from scavengers. The season of light is a season of relentless work, a race against time. There is a sense of urgency to everything you do. You might sleep for only a few hours at a time, taking advantage of the 24-hour daylight. You are rebuilding your stores, repairing your gear, and preparing your bodies for the trial of the long night that you know is coming. The sun is high in the sky, the world is alive with sound and color, but in the back of your mind there is always the memory of the cold and the knowledge that this explosion of life is just a brief, beautiful interlude in the great, silent, white reality of your world. Summer is a season of motion. The frozen world has become a world of water, and with it comes a different kind of hunt, a different set of challenges and rewards. The focus shifts from the patient waiting at the seal hole to the active pursuit of migrating herds and the bounty of the rivers and sea. The Great Caribou Migration is the central event of the inland summer. Tens of thousands of caribou move from their wintering grounds to their summer calving grounds on the tundra. You and your family will position yourselves at a known river crossing, a place where the herds have passed for centuries. This is a hunt of strategic interception. You do not chase the caribou on land. They are too fast. You wait for them to enter the water. A swimming caribou is vulnerable. Its head is held high, its body low in the water, and its speed is greatly reduced. This is where your kayak becomes the ultimate hunting tool. You and the other men will launch your silent, swift vessels and paddle into the midst of the swimming herd. The scene is one of controlled Kayosa River filled with thousands of thrashing, swimming animals, their antlers held aloft like a moving forest. Your weapon is a light spear or lance. You paddle alongside a caribou and, with a quick, powerful thrust, drive the spear into its side, aiming for the lungs. It is a dangerous dance. A panicked caribou can capsize a kayak with a kick of its powerful legs. You must be skilled, fast, and constantly aware of the movement of the herd around you. The women and older children wait on the far bank of the river, ready to pull the slain animals from the water and begin the immense task of butchering. The summer caribou is vital. Its meat will be dried into jerky, providing lean protein for the winter. Its hide, at this time of year, is thin, with short hair, perfect for making the inner layer of your winter clothing. The sinew from its back will become thread, and its antlers will be carved into a dizzying array of tools, from harpoon heads to needle cases. The rivers also offer another bounty: fish. The Arctic char, a fish like a salmon, swims upstream to spawn. You build weirs, or stone dams, that funnel the fish into a narrow channel where they can be easily speared with a leister, a three-pronged spear with sharp bone points. On a good day, you can catch hundreds of pounds of char, which the women will gut and hang on racks to dry in the constant wind and sun. Bird hunting is another crucial summer activity. The cliffs by the sea are home to massive colonies of murres, guillemots, and other seabirds. You use long-handled nets to scoop the birds from the air as they fly to and from their nests. It is a precarious way to gather food, perched on a narrow cliff ledge, but the reward is great. The birds are eaten, and their skins, with the feathers still on, are sometimes used to make lightweight inner parkas or stockings. Summer is also the time to hunt walrus. This is a hunt done from the Umiak, or on the edge of the ice floes where the massive animals haul out to rest. A walrus is a formidable opponent. A large male can weigh over a ton, and is armed with long, sharp ivory tusks that can easily puncture the skin of a boat or a man. The hunt requires courage and teamwork. The reward is a huge amount of meat, blubber, and precious, durable ivory, which is one of the most important materials for making tools and art. This season of plenty is a stark contrast to the scarcity of winter. There is an atmosphere of abundance, of feasting on fresh meat, of rebuilding the fat reserves on your own body. But you are always aware that it is temporary. Every successful hunt, every fish dried, every skin prepared, is a deposit in the bank of winter survival. The sun may be shining at midnight, but the long, dark night is never truly forgotten. It is the silent, driving force behind the joyous, frantic labor of the Arctic summer. You live in a world without metal, without forged steel, without sawed lumber. Your entire technological world is built from what the land and the animals provide: stone, bone, antler, ivory, driftwood, and sinew. To a modern eye, your toolkit might seem primitive. To a survivalist, it is a collection of masterpieces, each tool a perfect, elegant solution to a specific problem, refined over thousands of years of trial and error. Let's start with the knife. The most important woman's tool is the ulu, a crescent-shaped knife with a handle in the center of the blade. It is not designed for stabbing, but for slicing, scraping, and chopping. The blade is traditionally made from slate, ground to a sharp edge. The handle is bone or wood. With this single tool, a woman can skin a seal, butcher a caribou, fillet a fish, trim the wick of her lamp, cut hide for clothing, and even give her children a haircut. Its design allows her to apply immense pressure directly over the cutting edge, giving her precision and power. It is an extension of her hand, a tool she will use every single day of her life. The man's primary tool is the harpoon, but it is the harpoon head that is the true work of genius. It is not fixed to the shaft. It is a toggling head, designed to detach. When the harpoon strikes an animal like a seal or a walrus, the head penetrates the skin and blubber. The pull of the attached line then causes the head to turn sideways, or toggle, under the skin, locking it in place. This means the hunter can fight a large, powerful animal on a line without the risk of the point simply pulling out. The shaft, often made of precious driftwood, detaches and can be recovered. This single invention is one of the keys to successful marine mammal hunting. To make your stone tools, you are a master of flint knapping. You can take a piece of flint or chert and, with a hammerstone and a piece of antler for fine pressure flaking, you can create a razor-sharp arrowhead, a scraper, or a knife blade. It is a subtractive art, where a single misplaced strike can ruin hours of work. Fire is life, but there are no matches. You make fire with a bow drill. A wooden spindle is held in place with a mouthpiece of stone or bone, held in your teeth, And the bow, a simple bent piece of wood with a leather thong, is wrapped around the spindle. A rapid soaring motion with the bow spins the spindle at high speed, and the friction against a wooden fireboard creates a glowing ember in a small pile of wood dust. This ember is then transferred to a bundle of dry moss or grass tinder and gently blown into flame. It is a difficult skill that requires strength, technique, and the right materials. You have even conquered the problem of glare. To prevent snow blindness in the 24-hour sun of summer, you wear snow goggles. These are not made of glass. They are carved from a piece of driftwood, bone, or walrus ivory to fit the face perfectly. Instead of lenses, a long, narrow, horizontal slit is carved across the front. This slit drastically reduces the amount of light and glare reaching your eyes, while still allowing for a wide field of peripheral vision. It is a simple, brilliant solution to a debilitating problem. To drill the holes in bone for needles or in wood for lashing, you use a smaller version of the bow drill, tipped with a sharp flint point. To sew, you use needles of polished bird bone or ivory, some so fine they are almost transparent. To carry water, you use a bag made from a seal's stomach or bladder. Every object in your life is made by hand, by you or someone you know. There is no waste. A broken tool is not thrown away. Its materials are repurposed. A worn-out bone needle becomes a fishhook. A cracked stone blade is reshaped into a smaller scraper. You live in a closed-loop system of creation and reuse, a world of profound material intelligence. Your technology is not measured by its complexity, but by its effectiveness. And in this, the harshest of all environments, your simple toolkit of bone and stone is what allows you to prevail. In your world, you are not an individual first. You are a member of a family. Kinship is the skeleton upon which your entire society is built. It dictates who you can marry, who you share food with, and who you are obligated to defend. Your core unit is the nuclear family, but you live and travel as part of a larger, extended family group. The bonds between siblings are incredibly strong. Your brothers are your hunting partners. Your sisters are your co-workers in the endless tasks of processing hides and preparing food. The relationship between a brother and a sister is one of deep respect and mutual support. Marriage is not a romantic affair of courtship and ceremony. It is a practical arrangement, a partnership essential for survival. A man needs a wife to sew his clothes, tend the lamp, and raise his children. A woman needs a husband to provide meat and protect the family. Marriages are often arranged by parents when children are still young. Sometimes, a man might simply bring a gift of meat to a woman's family, and if she accepts and moves into his household, they are considered married. There is no formal ceremony. The proof of the marriage is that they are living together and fulfilling their respective roles. Sometimes, couples decide they are not compatible, and they will simply separate, a divorce as informal as the marriage. Children are cherished. They are the future of the family and the community. An infant spends the first 1 or 2 years of its life in the pouch of its mother's parka, in constant physical contact. This creates a powerful bond and a deep sense of security. Children are generally treated with great indulgence and are rarely struck or punished physically. They learn through observation, imitation, and gentle correction. A child who misbehaves is more likely to be teased or shamed than hit. Names are incredibly important and hold a deep spiritual significance. You are often named after a recently deceased relative. It is believed that by giving the child the name of an ancestor, a part of that ancestor's spirit, their skills, and their personality is passed on to the child. A person is not just a single identity, but a vessel for the names and the souls they carry. A person might have several names throughout their life, names that refer to their accomplishments or personal characteristics. To speak a person's name is to invoke their spirit. This is why the names of the recently dead are not spoken for a time, to allow their soul to complete its journey without being called back. Adoption is very common. If a couple is unable to have children, they might adopt a child from a family with many. If a hunter dies, his children might be adopted by his brother. These are not seen as second-best arrangements. An adopted child is treated with the same love and care as a biological child. The goal is always to ensure that every child has a family and that the community as a whole remains strong. Another unique social custom is the practice of wife swapping. This is not about promiscuity. It is a formal, ritualized way of creating and strengthening alliances between men and between families. Two men who are hunting partners or who wish to form a bond of kinship might temporarily exchange wives for a night. This creates a powerful relationship between them. They are no longer just friends. They are co-husbands, bound by a sacred obligation to support and defend each other for the rest of their lives. It is a social contract sealed through intimacy. These bonds of kinship are what make life possible. You are connected to everyone in your small group by a complex web of birth, marriage, and shared names. You know that if you are sick, someone will care for you. If you are hungry, someone will feed you. This network of obligation and reciprocity is your strength. It is the invisible, social igloo that protects you from the isolating harshness of the land. Your world is not governed by kings, councils, or written laws. It is governed by a set of unwritten rules, customs, and ethics, born from the brutal logic of survival. These rules are not about abstract justice. They are about the practical necessities of keeping the group alive in an environment with absolutely no margin for error. The fundamental unit of your society is the extended family, and the leader is the Isumatak, the one who thinks. His authority is earned, not given. People follow him because his decisions lead to success. He knows where to find the seals. He makes wise choices about when to move camp. If his judgment fails, if the hunts are unsuccessful, his authority will wane, and families will simply drift away to follow another, more successful leader. The most important law, the one that underpins everything, is sharing. The concept of personal property is limited. A man might own his personal tools, his weapons, his kayak. A woman owns her knives, her sewing kit, her lamp. But food, the most vital resource of all, is never private property. It belongs to the community. A hunter who hoards his catch is committing the worst possible crime. He is not just being selfish, he is threatening the survival of everyone. The punishment for such an act is shaming and ostracism. An individual cast out from the group will not survive a single winter alone. But this world of sharing also has a darker side, one born of desperate necessity. In times of extreme famine, when the hunts have failed for weeks and the stored food is gone, the group may be forced to make terrible choices. This is the world of survival logic, a logic that can seem monstrous to an outsider, but is understood as a last, tragic resort. One such practice is that of senilicide, the abandonment of the elderly. When an elder becomes too frail to contribute to the group or to keep up with the migrations, and when food is so scarce that feeding them threatens the survival of the children, a heart-wrenching decision might be made. Often, it is the elder themselves who will request it. They will ask to be left behind on the ice or in a small, sealed snow hut with a small amount of food and water. It is not an act of cruelty. It is seen as a final, noble sacrifice for the good of the group, for the future of their own grandchildren. The family will mourn, but they will accept the necessity of the act. Similarly, in the most desperate of times, infanticide might be practiced. If a mother gives birth during a famine and she is too malnourished to produce milk, or if the group simply cannot support another mouth, the infant might be left to die. These are not decisions made lightly. They are the stuff of nightmares, choices that haunt a family for a lifetime, but they are a reflection of the brutal calculus of your world. Conflict resolution is also different. There are no courts or prisons. A dispute between two individuals, perhaps over a stolen tool or a perceived insult, is often resolved through a public duel, but not a duel of weapons. It is a duel of song. The two opponents will face each other in front of the entire community and take turns singing insulting, satirical songs about each other. They will mock each other's hunting prowess, their clumsiness, their family. The community is the judge. The winner is the one who can come up with the cleverest, funniest, and most cutting insults, and who can best endure the insults directed at him without losing his temper. The duel ends with laughter, the tension is broken, and social harmony is restored. Murder, however, is the most serious crime. It is a tear in the social fabric. Because there is no central authority, justice is the responsibility of the victim's family. A murder demands blood revenge. A male relative of the victim is obligated to kill the murderer. This can set off a cycle of revenge killings that can last for generations, a feud that can destroy entire family groups. These are the laws of your land. They are not written on stone tablets, but in the hearts and minds of your people. They are a complex mix of deep compassion and brutal pragmatism, of communal support and terrifying choices. They are the moral framework that allows you to survive, not just as an individual, but as a people, in a world that is always and unforgivingly testing your limits. You have walked the ice. You have felt the wind. You have waited for the seal. You have huddled for warmth in the long dark night and squinted against the glare of the midnight sun. You have lived a life of such intense focus and skill that almost no modern human could endure it for a single week. Your existence was not a romantic struggle. It was a highly technical, deeply spiritual, and socially complex masterpiece of adaptation. Every tool you used, from the toggling harpoon head to the sinew-stitched seams of your parka, was a product of millennia of trial, error, and genius. Every social custom, from the absolute law of sharing to the song duel, was a finely tuned mechanism for maintaining cohesion in a world that constantly threatened to tear you apart. You did not live in a barren wasteland. You lived in a world rich with meaning, populated by spirits, and governed by a deep, sacred order. You did not see yourself as a victim of your environment, but as an integral part of it. You were as much a feature of the Arctic landscape as the polar bear and the ice itself. To look back on this life from the comfort of the modern world is to be humbled. We are a species that has mastered technology to insulate ourselves from the raw realities of nature. We have central heat, supermarkets, and global communication. We live with a margin of error so vast that it is effectively infinite compared to yours. A bad day for us might mean a missed deadline or a traffic jam. A bad day for you could mean a capsized kayak, a failed hunt, a frozen limb, or the starvation of your family. The skills you possessed are almost entirely lost to us now. The ability to read the weather in the clouds, to navigate by the stars and the currents, to build a shelter from snow, to make a waterproof garment from the skin of an animal, to find life in a world that seems to be defined by its absence. This knowledge was your wealth, a treasure far more valuable than gold. The world of the traditional Inuit has largely vanished, transformed by the arrival of new technologies, new economies, and new beliefs. But the people remain. Their descendants still live in the north, navigating a new set of challenges, a world caught between the traditions of the ice and the demands of the 21st century. But the echo of that old life is still there. It is in the rhythm of the language, in the stories still told by the elders, and in the profound and resilient spirit of a people who learned how to make a home at the very edge of human possibility. So as you settle into your own warmth tonight, as you drift off to sleep in a world of effortless comfort, perhaps take a moment to remember that life. A life of cold, of darkness, and of hunger, but also a life of incredible strength, of deep community, and of a stark, powerful beauty. The beauty of a single lamp glowing in a dome of ice, a small, defiant flicker of human warmth against the vast, magnificent, and unforgiving silence of the Arctic night.